Hello. Hey, can you hear me?
Hi,
Hi.
how are you? I
Hi,
think,
you can hear me. Do you hear a little feedback?
oh yeah, what is it? Let me turn the AC on.
One, two, three, like a double. Let's see. Do you have this open on any other devices?
No,
Hello? All right, I think it's better now. How
yeah,
are you?
I turned off my AC, so maybe it was that.
Okay, yeah. How are you doing?
Good, good. I getting trying to learn through the whole virtual presentation and um,
Right.
but all good. I get to meet people like you. We're doing great work, and now we're gonna stay in touch after this. So that works.
Yay, we're trying. Where are you?
I'm in New York. I just got back this Saturday. I'm
Hmm.
in Missouri right before this.
Okay.
I'm originally from the Midwest.
Mhm.
Where
Yeah,
are
I
you?
actually see that. I'm actually from the DC area, and I came here during COVID. So, and I live in New York too. So I'm in Harlem. But yeah, so you're back now. I've been going back and forth about going back.
Okay, I'm glad you're in the same position. I'm calling
Yeah.
it. So this is like a trial period. So no, I'm not officially back.
Mhm. How are those streets feeling right now?
Well, it's been an experience. It's just coming from the Midwest. I like that most people. So I'm in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy right now. They're using
Mhm.
their masks at least on the street, so walking around feel good. But still, there's this difference once you get inside. Everybody drops their masks, and it's like everything is back to normal, which I'm not ready for
It
that.
doesn't make sense, right? It's like, and I don't know, it's 12:30 now. Or I see we have seven eyes upon us. Hello, everyone. Uh, eight. So, do you want to share first? Or
Yeah, let's do this. Hi, COVID-19, the trending topics of 2020, and wait to hear from all of you. Let me know when the screen share is up.
it's up.
Okay, 1 second.
There may be a slight delay, so if bear with it.
Okay, perfect. All right. Awesome, everybody. We're so happy to be here with you today as women of color in technology, especially amidst huge pandemic that is really disrupting K through 12 and anything related to education. And so we feel happy to be part of the conversation to bring about best practices of how we can reach our kids during these tough times and be able to support them. It's going to be different, but hopefully It's going to be more personalized. It's going to be more scalable. It's going to be accessible, especially when thinking about our Black young people who weren't met by the traditional system before. So excited to have the conversation today in terms of a little bit about myself. My name is Yulkendi Valdez. I was born in the Dominican Republic, and I started at school when I was 6. So that was my introduction to education. I would bring all the kids in my neighborhood to my backyard and teach them how to read. So in DR, you can have a neighborhood where it's both people living under $2 a day, and then people with relatively good paying job that at least gets the bill done. I was of the latter, being raised by my grandparents who were already on pension, and so I remember charging kids in my neighborhood 5 pesos in a class. Obviously now more mature and aware and understand that we need to make our education system more accessible, low barrier, especially for kids from low income background. And that has become my passion ever since I moved to the States. To start telling you about my work first, and then I'll pass it over to Kimberly. Before we get there, I want to learn about, why are you all in the session? Maybe type it in the chat. What are you looking to do? So we keep that in mind as we go through this conversation, because this is all about you today. Kimberly, you can be monitoring as I continue the presentation. Awesome. So I want to start with the big point here. There's a new entire generation of students. They're called Generation Z. Not long ago, we were still talking about millennials. So it's amazing how quickly time is passing. And so Generation Z is anyone born between 1996 and 2010. There's different definitions for it, but for the most part, that is the standard parameter. So these are kids that are called so-and-so AI natives, so digital natives. They were born with the earliest forms of Siri and Alexa and Google, where they can, with a click of a fingertip, get access to anything they wanted. So this is a generation that does understand technology. They're also the most racially and ethnically diverse population. And so that's what makes it important, especially for this conference, focus on Black students. We're looking already at 48% of Generation Z being truly diverse generations, yet our systems are not adapting fast enough to meet. And so that's where we're hoping technology can come in to really bridge some of those gaps. And on our end, I run a company called Forefront. We did not start on day one. No, neither did we claim to be technology experts on day one. What we did is really follow a problem. We understood that Black and brown kids weren't getting as much access, making that transition from education to career. We didn't have as many role models in our schools to follow and understand what type of relationships we needed to make to get to that next step. And so over the time we launched in 2017, and over the last 3 years, we've been really working with education leaders and business leaders, understanding how to redefine the systems for these next generations to make them more equitable. And so that's when we started, and we gather a lot of data and knowledge, but also learn a lot about the trends in technology by working closely with technology companies. And we started to hear about artificial intelligence. Those, as I mentioned, what's on our iPhones right now or Androids, that we can ask, where's the nearest coffee place or the nearest, Thai food. The click of a button, Siri or Alexa will tell us the address. So we begin to ask ourselves, why can't we have that same technology where a student can go in and ask, a product manager, or how do I understand how do I get connected to mentors to become a doctor or a health technician, and really being able to help them navigate every part of their career and professional journeys. And so that's what we started to do at the end of 2019 and also early. And so what we've been on a journey to really redefine that student experience. It was usually in the classroom, in person, and at the end of the day, we didn't have the time to cater to the needs of every student, their backgrounds, their language needs, their social emotional needs. So that became really tough. But in this new world where technology can really augment, optimize, again, it won't replace what we've proven to work so much, but it would optimize what is proven to have worked, especially if it's operated at the hands of educators who really, really care about student needs. We can at least have around-the-clock support for our students, make it more cost-efficient, personalized, data-driven, accessible. And that's going to take a while, but that's the journey we're on. And we settle on artificial intelligence or chatbots. So all of you might use chatbots on an online store when you have a question about your order or to get your financial balance. You just message them online or that website, or now you're seeing them come up also through text message where you're talking to a bot either about your flight and changes. So a lot of employers are using these on the customer service playing field. So why can't we use technology in the education and workforce ecosystem? So that's where we come in. We have taken that technology of chatbots and built tools like Tony, which is a bot that students can message or text to get feedback on a lesson, to get access to career coaching, career development, college counseling, all through the click of a button and the power of text message. Gen Z, 7 out of 10 prefer text message over any other form of communication. So we're meeting students where they are and creating low barrier and fun experiences. And also, frankly, this digital gap has made us more humble about technology. We know that not every student has Wi-Fi or the proper technology at home. So how can we make it even easier? Or they might not even have the environment can silently process information. So doing it through text, where even no matter what else is going in your household, you can focus and engage in a synchronous manner in your own time, allows that student to get that same support. And so what we're doing is essentially creating custom chatbots for schools and different organizations to help them deliver the curriculum over text message. At the end of the day, we just similarly, when you call an airline, you start with a bot and you ask for a representative. Same thing happens here. Again, technology doesn't replace the human, it assists you. So you can turn the bot on and off, and a real human expert can come in at that point and interact with the student. So that human technology interaction is seamless. Also, what technology allows us is to really, if we have a ELL student like me, again, I've learned English when I was 11. I participated in an ESL program. If I needed to receive that content in both Spanish and English as a 5th or 6th grade, if technology can do that, and speaking my language, to give me time to fully become proficient. Or it's not about the language, but certain idioms, certain cultural things that the AI can know about me to make me feel comfortable, whether it's having more Afro Latinx representation in the content that I see. And so that's all possible now with this AI tool because it can be customized per learner. So here's a little bit of them in action. So, AI chatbot data. So here you see Tony asking for the students' pronunciations, their hobbies, asking them about feedback. So student voice here is part of the process. The technology can match students to jobs, part-time jobs, summer jobs, can assess their skills, again, all through text message or on the phone like they're texting any other friend, as well as helping them with very practical resume reviews, mentor matching. So the technology can say, hey, I know Peter in product management that you can talk to about a career in tech, and facilitate that match and relationship. And so I mentioned a lot about this facilitates through text message, but also basically any other platform. So it can integrate in other learning platforms that you have. So it like a pop-up, again, like the pop-up you see in your stores is the same thing here. So it makes it really easy to integrate to any other existing curriculum. And what we're hoping is this really optimizes educators' time, increasing students' engagement, and really elevates the goals around diversity, equity, inclusion that are really more important than ever. And right now, as you see, a lot of the examples are around career exploration, career development, but we're piloting this technology for social emotional learning and other aspects of project-based curriculum, mentoring initiatives. That this can be a good complement to those. And we're startup, we're still early stage, so we're super excited to learn from you all about best practices you have found during pleasure to have the team who's equally passionate about creating equitable education and workforce systems for our next generation of workers and students. So feel free to reach out at info@getforefront.co or to me directly at unikendi@getforefront.co. I can send a white paper about artificial intelligence to tell you more about this technology, so you can also learn to use it and adapt it on your own. And now I'm ready for any, but also at the end, I'll be sharing more about my journey. Thank you, everyone.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? I love that. I've been looking forward to seeing seeing that in action for a while. So thank you for that. I wanted to let everybody who's here know that if they want to, they can jump on like we are, ask their questions. So all you have to do is click the button up in the corner that asks you to share to. I forgot exactly what it says now, but there's a button up in the corner that will allow you to come on and ask the question, and we'll get you guys on. So if there's any questions, let us know. Otherwise, I guess Kimberly, you'll be up next, right?
Yes, sir. So excellent job. I noticed really early that Jamal, you've done a great job at curating these groups, because Kendi and I have very, very similar passions in terms of using education as a way for students to have more accessibility to opportunities. And she has a tool that's also for mobile, that's for engagement through text. And UVI is through video and voice. So I think it's so important for us as women of color working in technology to realize how we can really help our communities a lot better is providing these resources, because like she said, not everyone has dedicated Wi-Fi access. Not everyone has the ability to access a personal computer at all times. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, and then I guess everyone should just mute.
And I'm going to step out and let you guys do your thing. Again, folks, if y'all want to ask questions, you just make a request to join us, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.
We'll see you soon. So let me just bring this back a little bit here. So my name is Kimberly Gray. I am the founder and CEO of UVI. But more importantly, I'm the daughter of 2 Washington, D.C. public school principals. And before starting a company for a distance learning assessment, I worked in the film and entertainment industry as a producer, documentary filmmaker, working with HBO, working with 40 Acres and a Mule. So in many ways, creating a tool that uses video learning to help students to communicate and increase their opportunities to success was like a full circle moment for me. And that's what UVI is. So only about 8% of instructors get daily feedback from students. So we have to ask the question now, especially during COVID, how do we know students are learning? Right? How do we know students are really learning remotely? So what UVI does for educational institutions and learning management systems as a plugin is help to show students are learning through mobile deployed micro-assessment surveys and asking questions. You want to think about the stakeholders here within higher education. Can everybody still see my screen? Sorry. Okay, so 77% of students this fall are very unsure or comfortable with the option of remote learning as for education. So that's causing a tremendous drop in enrollment for higher education. 1/4 of institutions are at risk of closure. So now more than ever, they have to prove the student learning outcomes to show success. So with each of these stakeholders, the institutions are going to be interested in retention. The instructors are focusing on engagement. And students need the access and the feedback for that evaluation that can further their careers. And that's where UVI comes in. So we are a mobile tool that enables an instructor after a lesson to say, I wonder if my students really got that. I want to give them the opportunity to respond with a short survey real time. So this survey is deployed in the video capture screen. So as you can see in slide 2 here, the students being asked a question about abnormal psychology and they're responding. So it's a real-time engagement. You receive the message just like you would in Instagram or on another social media app. We actually call it Blackboard meets Snapchat in that sense. And we plug into learning management systems and institutional portals with learning tool interoperability. So as an instructor, you can create a survey, a custom, or you can deploy daily surveys, weekly surveys. So if you really want to know whether your students are learning, you can simply ask them. And this is a tool we started focusing on higher education, but obviously this is a tool that I have a 9-year-old son. You know, I'm a single mom, you know, working in New York City, and it's tough. So this tool can do what it takes 3 steps to do in Google Classroom in terms of being able to see the content and see the responses real time. So an instructor in the app's available on iOS and Android. We're just launching our beta this fall, so super excited about that. But you could deploy these, you know, very easily, and students are designed to respond. So what we have here are micro assessments and surveys. This is paired to a dashboard, an instructor portal, which is available online. This is where it plugs into the learning management systems. Our first integration is going to be with Blackboard. That's coming up this fall. So in October, this will be launching. Right now, we have a partnership with the City University of New York. Medgar Evers College is our home institution. They are actually the only predominantly Black institution in the New York City area. So very proud to be working with them. But what institutions want to see is, and what UVI provides, is we're tracking the engagement and the retention of the student over time. So daily, weekly, monthly, but not just the student, also the instructor and the institutional courses. So you can see which courses were most popular and why. So here's an example. On the top here, we have these various courses. This is inside the instructor portal. John Smith, he has abnormal psychology, public administration. And then down here, you can see the most active students with 127 responses. And at the bottom, you can see least active students. So these are very, very valuable dynamic dashboard analytics that instructors, institutions, and students need to be graded upon, because with the plugin, we're going to plug into the grade books for the learning management systems, because we want to save instructors time we want to save teachers time. We want to save professors time. So if you can easily deploy a survey and ask questions like really quickly of students, and then instantly get those responses. And on version 2, these will be video to text annotation responses. So if you have correct responses, you want to connect with that, we'll be able to do that too. So UVI works 2 ways. It plugs into learning management systems, and it's a standalone application. So we're partnered with IMS Global Learning Consortium, which is one of the largest learning tool interoperability memberships. And we're developing these mobile response plugin tools for LMS, which is also Blackboard, Canvas, Microsoft Teams, to enable them to use our video commenting feature, which we call action command messaging, that text that appears in the video capture screen, and plugging into LMS. So ultimately creating this ecosystem of being able to notify students on mobile, upload your resources, exhibit office hours, again, because the students, they need the evaluation, they need the feedback, and personally comment. There's no DM feature, so everything, if it's not proctored, if it's not a quiz, it's viewable by the entire course. So over the summer, we've been doing case studies with our students at Medgar, and we surveyed 4 courses, and 100% of the instructors agreed that UVI increased student engagement. 100% of the students said, this is what I was really excited about, said that a tool like UVI would help them matriculate to graduation. That's huge. So again, our competitive advantage, first off, when I started this company in 2018, I knew it was going to be a journey. But we designed this very early on to be very mobile, and our company is small and agile. So compared to our competitors, we have about a 2-year advantage, I believe, in distance learning assessment and video response learning. And we filed patents, they're pending for our action command messaging. But in a sense, this is a sole source technology for distance learning assessment with a plurality of responses, text, video, and audio. So again, being able to measure daily engagement statistics, designed for mobile, very familiar social media style interface, which you'll see shortly in the demo. Trackable engagement, LMS and mobile interoperability, quizzes and assessments. That's what our competitors provide. iClicker, Top Hat, or other learning assessment tools that have integrative capabilities. However, they don't have our voice, audio, and text commenting. They don't have our action command messaging where the text actually, the question appears in the video capture screen for the students to respond to. And they don't have that in-app real-time notification. But Forefront does. So this is our team. I'm Kimberly Graham, the CEO. Again, my background was in film production and fashion styling, ironically, before launching this company. So I'm a testament that everything can be learned, and everything can, just because you don't have like a degree in something, I think now more than ever, you can quickly learn a skill set to be successful. Malcolm Paul is our head of IT. He's another CUNY graduate. We're very closely working with them and focusing as a minority MWB certified business, focusing on working with the city of New York with more government, city and state contracts. And Graham Opie, our amazing marketing sales. All of these guys have past experience within the ecosystem of ed tech and software as a service and education, higher education sales. So without further ado, we're going to have a little demo of UVI. I hope everybody's sticking with me because I'm in a full share mode, so I really can't see. So here we have a simple login. You can either use an access code, or that's how you create an account, or you log in. So this is John Smith. He's an abnormal psychology instructor at Medgar Evers College. As you can see, familiar social media style interface. this commenting queue. So as you can see, that plurality of responses, text, video, audio, you have a robust way of reaching different types of students with different types of engagement comfortability. So here's the action command messaging feature. Let's see. Yeah, so those are a couple of examples of a video comment. Same thing here. You can also add audio. So on this home feed, you have a display of, as an instructor, here's the dashboard. Here's the different types of posts. You can post a survey, you can post a video, you can post a photo, you can post a document, you can add a syllabus and open it up for feedback. Adding a course, joining courses here. You may want to add a TA, a teacher's assistant to your course. You can edit them, and here's where you can create and deploy the surveys. So again, you may have a custom survey which will explain exactly what you want the student to respond to. Maybe it's a quiz, or hey, there's me creating this survey tool. You can, as I mentioned, the custom. So you have that option, or you have this daily summary, and this you can just deploy, right? So if you want to deploy it today at 3 o'clock and you want a response by the following day at 3 o'clock, 24 hours, you can set that time, and then the responses will start coming in automatically, right? So this saves the instructor time, because the information that we're gathering, not only is it a virtual attendance, not only is it an assessment, and here's where you can also add the tags and share it to the course, the post to a string, or to a learning management system. And posting to a string is specific, like a direct message, our version of a direct message, and it only posts to those particular students. So yes, you have these different ways to engage students, and on the go in real time. So again, with the string, you can choose a specific student or post to the course, which goes, voila, directly to the course. And there it is. So that concludes this presentation. This fall, we are conducting a lot of pilots to build more efficacy around video response learning. So I would love, love, love to hear from you, and potentially pilot with your institutions and help us build out a case study to really show the value of this tool. We've just launched our beta. The instructor portal launches in October. This is a really good time. We're focusing on a very big HBCU focus. I went to Howard University, and as a government contractor, right, we're in a position as a small business to partner with institutions, and especially to partner for research and development projects, to even do government contracts. So I'd love to hear more about everything that everyone here is working on, and talk about more what it's like being a woman of color working in tech. So thank you, guys.
What's up? So Uvi is oh, all right, we'll get this one out of there. So both of your tools are hey, what happened? Maybe she wanted to go on the one that I can you hear me, Kim?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys both have amazing tools, man. I am, incredibly encouraged. I think that if people are using these tools as opposed, maybe I don't know whether it will be in addition to, kind of Google Classroom, but it just makes more sense for me, particularly at the Black Education Conference, that we have tools that Black women are creating, that Black schools should be using those tools, because that is what is going to lead to the kind of reformation in education that we're looking for in our in our community. So it looks like there was one question in the chat around TC Carvalho asked, as a graduate school professor, she'd love to use the app for teachers, and then we'd love to pilot it this year. Are you ready for pilots, Kimmy? I can't hear you.
Absolutely. Hi, TC. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. We're doing a third round of pilots for this fall. So this is a really good time. We have a very simple onboarding process, and we can talk more about that offline. So I'm going to leave my email here in the chat.
And also, everybody, just know that there's going to be a document that comes out for everybody who's here. After, it's going to have all of the various different contact information that our participants have shared. We'll have something for all of you guys to be able to get in touch. But if you want to grab it now, that works as well. So I guess we got about another 28 minutes. Do you guys have plans for kind of some back and forth between the two of you? You want me to hang out? How do you want to handle?
Well, I sent some questions this morning in our email. You want to ask us those questions? Would you like to do that?
Sure.
And then we can bring everyone in.
That definitely works.
Yeah, and I have them here too, so we can get started. Kimberly, great presentation. I wonder, what inspired you to start UBI and what keeps you going?
Well, I think it's similar to yours in that, you kind of didn't set out to do this thing specifically. It kind of came.
I'm sorry, Kimmy. I'm gonna jump out because I think the feedback.
Mute. I think you just have to mute. If you mute, it'll be. So well, again, both my parents are educators. I'm literally related to Booker T. Washington, as like one of my ancestors. So my brother went to West Point. And I think the biggest influence is I'm from Prince George's County, Maryland. This is a very, educated Black suburb just outside of the DC area. And I grew up around a lot of Black professionals who were educated. So it really wasn't until I moved to New York and saw wow, we really out here struggling. I know that may sound silly, but so I wanted to create a tool because image media, that's like water. Everything you see, that perception is going to define how people perceive you. And as people of color, we have to control our own narratives, right? And in order for us to do that, we need platforms and we need innovative tools like through technology to enable us to be able to communicate and teach each other, because I feel like a lot of times people of color, we do a lot of great things, but we don't work enough together. So when it's time to scale, it can be more difficult because we just don't have as many resources, So
y'all absolutely positively got this. I'll see you guys at the end. I'm out of here.
Peace. So I guess I would ask the same question to you, Kindi. Your mic. Cut your mic.
Hi. Yeah, so I mentioned I was in the Republic, the Caribbean, but I ended in Missouri, where there's not a lot of Dominicans. So I resonate with, St. Louis, Missouri was really my teacher. It woke me up to communities that were broken in halves, the haves and the have-not. And I all of a sudden, and I was put into this box. So I resonated with in terms of learning to create that narrative. And so I remember I actually got into spelling bee. So I was like Aquila and the Bee for my middle school years, right after I moved. All the media was just surprised that, wow, first of all, a Black, also an immigrant, in this competition. It's not the norm. It's dominated by mostly Asian, mostly Indian folks. And so I said, wait, I'm not supposed to do this type of thing. What does that mean? And so that's when all the stigmas that were around me, being a daughter of teenage parents, immigrants, started really percolate around me, and I wanted to break the box, break the narrative. And I knew that for Black kids, especially for Latino of talent, it's just that this system was new for me. I didn't navigate that path, how to build relationships, social capital, which is still the key to everything. And so that's how I landed in education, but I chose the business world as my form of, in a way, I call it activism. So I'm from Ferguson, Missouri, and my first wake-up call, I lived 10 minutes away from where Michael Brown was. And I have 2 younger brothers. So that could have been any of, and I carried that with me going into college in Boston. And all of a sudden, when I was, I'm low income. I thought I was gonna take that consulting job. Education is something that I'll figure out how to do later. But right when I was about to sign on the dotted line, Alton Sterling from Baton Rouge was shot and killed. And I just remember going into work crying for a week, and I could not longer take, get a job. Yes, it would allow financial prosperity for my family, but it's not going to ensure that my younger brothers had a fruitful education at the end of the day when they graduate, have the freedom to choose a job that they really love, where they can be paid fairly. And so I wanted to be full time, so that by the time my brother graduates, they have more choices than I did. So that's what led me into this work. Right after my graduation, I made this my career, and I went full time. And it's just been a lot of learning, but just still really center on making sure every kid feels seen, heard, so they don't feel in any stage they enter they don't belong. And so that's really what's been the vision of Forefront since day one.
So inspiring to and that's the thing. I don't to talk to other female founders working in technology, doing the same thing I'm doing. This is just so special and rare. And I'd love to hear from the audience, guys. Do you guys have any questions about starting businesses in tech, or about either of our tools and how we can work together to just build these types of relationships that we all need in our communities? Make every kid feel seen, heard, and valued. Absolutely. Oh, quote. Oh, all these quotes. I love it. Yeah, so when I first, started UV and I transitioned out of, film production, again, it was like, this was a good career, but it's like I wasn't getting the fulfillment, right? And a lot of what I've learned is self-taught in terms of IT. I've worked with my dev team for, going on 3 years, like even before we incorporated. So I knew, especially creating technology, and so smart that you did like a chatbot, because that's something that is always going to be an engagement piece, right? And an easy way to then gather the data and get the metadata to place those students, to teach those soft skills. So I see a lot of little similarities that could, as we build out an ecosystem, see us, working together with that. But I would like to ask you, what are some of the challenges you've seen selling a product? The sales cycle in education is slow. It's weird because you're primarily K-12. So are you focused on districts, or what's been your sales pipeline strategy?
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you're mentioning the chatbots. And I talked a lot about text messaging, but I was so happy to hear about your technology and that parallel to Snapchat, because video, that's where we're talk right now. And so that's the best way to learn and really engage people authentically. So the power of video is only growing with this generation. There's still a YouTube generation. So besides leveraging text message, we're always advocating to try to communicate with video as much as possible, even 30 seconds. A kid feel like, wow, this teacher really cares about me, even if I mentioned one of my younger, and he keeps saying, but I can't wait to see my teacher, even if it's video. And so that's powerful. And that's why I'm glad there is this technology innovation, but there is challenge in that, right? And adapting systems. And for us, we don't want to overwhelm educators who are already bombarded with information, right? At the end of the day, we're an impact company, we're about education, we're not really about making money. So the way we see it is building relationships, really making them win-win, and that takes time. And so that is challenging for a business like us, because that means we just have to make sure we're planning 12 months out, for the goals of selling through K to 12. But luckily, we also work with employers, which I mentioned, because a big thing for us is helping our kids transition from education to career. So 4-year education after high school is no longer going to be the norm. So how are we preparing them to jump to the next training program, to apprenticeships, to work-based learning opportunities? So we work closely to employers, so we understand what they want as well. And so that allows us to also be sustainable on that side. And also, like higher education, career centers are now being cut in half. And so so typically students, especially Black, comfortable in the first place walking into a lot of centers. So there was already stressor, and now to get on with a career counselor that they have never interacted with is even more uncomfortable. So we're also trying to launch pilots in that space to figure out how we can bridge a gap, especially for students of color in universities, to still get that career support, even though they might not connect directly with their career office. So we're doing work also in higher education as well, and it helps us be adaptable. Get sides. How are you running a business?
It's everybody says, whoa, Kimberly, how did you know the pandemic was I was like, now everything's distance learning. I'm like, I've been talking about this for 2 years, but it's accelerated the need for our technology. So again, the beta is launching this fall. These pilots are part of that, the instructor portal, the Blackboard plugin. Blackboard has 100 million users. So CUNY has 500,000 full-time students. So just getting it into the hands of the students that need it, more, and trickling back to the K through 12 space for students that need it. So maybe we can talk about doing some pilots, maybe with my CUNY contacts, because a big problem for them is summer melt. Right. So now is that time of year, and now it must be ridiculous because of COVID, the summer melt, which is students trickling off from the time they accepted enrollment to actually paying the tuition, filling out financial aid. It hasn't gotten to that yet. So engagement tools, and especially chatbots, are essential in I think those stages to get people to respond, right? Like, are you still coming? What's going on? And then for us, because we're focused on class participation, right? So the pilots that we're doing with Medgar, that's 15% of the students' class participation grade. That could be the difference between a C- and like almost a B+, and the difference between a student staying in school to graduate and dropping out, right? So that 15% is what we want to focus on. And I also noticed there's a question in the chat for you, Ms. Valdez. Do you appeal to state departments of education charters directly to county superintendents?
Yeah, our business is run through referrals and relationships. So again, we're trying to see where our technology is most successful. We don't want to claim that it's going to work in every system. So it all starts with a conversation and those pilots, which I imagine is the same case for you, Kimberly. I think the pilots are really helpful on collecting that data, which then, because we're startups, and the good thing with working with startups is that we're so adaptable. We're really building for the student. We're not such a big company where we already have that product and it's it. We can, after week 2 of the pilot, we can adapt based on that student feedback, based on administrator feedback. So the short answer to your question is yes. It just depends, on the time where we can pilot and then collect that data initially, and then keep going. We know that career exploration is being funded way earlier because exactly COVID-19 is exacerbating the labor market. It's going to become more competitive to get a job out there. Youth unemployment increasing again. So to making sure our young people for the jobs of the future, and right now that's a big focus for us. Chatbots could allow basically every student to have a virtual coach in their pocket. Right now, they're only getting 38 minutes of attention from a career/college counselor during the entire year. With it, can increase that level of attention at least to 60 minutes, but even more because the chatbot is around the clock. But again, we know the technology alone will do this, so we're building our own team of career specialists that can manage and track the conversations and also be able to serve the students directly.
Bravo. And I think more than anything, all of what we all need to do is focus on that digital divide, right? So in creating more equality in education, because it's that access that are going to lead to those career pipelines. So having a workforce plan. And I noticed you also are a Camelback Ventures fellow for Camelback. Yeah,
I remember I reviewed your application.
You saw my application. I love you. Thank you.
You came back to me. In terms of the ecosystem for women of color in technology, I mean, Camelback is doing great things in education, and I can't wait for more of those models to pop up, right? Because I attribute a lot of our success so far because they were one of the to believe in us from day one. So thank you for bringing that up.
And now you have Techstars. Congratulations on that. You want to share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah. So for that one, it's completely opposite environment. Camelback intentionally recruits underrepresented Techstars. There's not a lot of Black founders, Latino founders. So for those who don't know, Techstars is an accelerator global. They accept startups, they accept businesses and support them with mentorship and capital through a 12-week process. So it's like being in school again, but to help you run your business. And I did the one in Atlanta, which was good. It was run by a Black managing director. They only have 2. Global accelerator. So it was a special cohort because
is that Neil? Neil?
No, that's Barry Gibbons. He's doing a lot of great work in Atlanta to fund Black founders outside from Techstars. So for those that might be out of Atlanta, he's a great resource. So I got to be in a unique cohort where it was actually representative of the country. So there were other Black founders. It was really, really diverse. Many of us were in education. So that program is what really allowed us to build the initial versions of the AI, and we were able to launch our first chatbot, which she was called Carmen. She's still alive. She's a free resource, and students can text her online and get resume reviews, get connected to mentors, get to create their LinkedIn profile. As that right now, is one of the most important ways to get a job. You got to have a LinkedIn. So Carmen helps students with those practical aspects of the job search. And so we were able to launch that in March, test it, which allows us to now be ready to do pilots with organizations based on that initial feedback.
Excellent. And we're just under 10 minutes. Do you have any other questions?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Hi.
Okay, great. Hello, hello. You know, I'm very so excited to be here and to hear what you have to say. And my question for you is, given the pandemic and some of the rhetoric I'm hearing on the news with people who are not as familiar with online learning, policymakers saying, oh, the kids have to go to school because they're just not going to get anything out of online education, and they're just not going to get anything out of online opportunities, learning opportunities, or virtual learning. I'm just curious, how would you all respond to people who are sharing these ideas? Because I'm on the very opposite side of the fence. I've seen young people do awesome things using online learning and virtual schools, and I believe that definitely learning, high levels of learning can occur virtually because I've seen it firsthand. So I'm just curious, how would you respond to naysayers, so to speak?
I'd love to speak to that because I have a 9-year-old son who's a DOE. He goes to Central Park East, and we had the option of doing hybrid, and this is in New York City, or remote. And we were going back and forth. And he does have special needs. He takes, other IP pullouts. So he's been excelling virtually. Like personally, he's gotten so much better because for him, he can now focus, and there's not the distractions like within the classroom. So children
Right.
learn differently. There's no static way to teach. Like it's always going to be different per child. And I think we have to ask them more how to reach them. And I think this is a tool that's native for them, right? They were born into social media. And I think it's mostly the policymakers. This is, after the election, we'll see if they're still making those same threats. But if you ask the parents, a lot of them are not comfortable with their students back in school.
I see. Thank you. Miss Valdez, did you want to also Miss Valdez, you're the owner of this platform?
Yes, I am.
Oh, this is important. But did you have a comment related to that, Mr. Valdez?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
I was just curious. Miss Gray commented on my question. I was wondering if you had anything or any ideas to add to that. Basically, just speaking back to naysayers who say that there's nothing to gain in terms of virtual learning.
Yeah, no, I think what we're advocating for is more personalized and accessible education. Not to say, again, I don't agree in a model where we could fully let go of very high touch cohort models. That has made it successful for a long time. But adding virtual learning, remote learning just adds accessibility to all types of learner, to all types of people. So this is the time to innovate. So then we have more choice, because clearly traditional education systems haven't worked as much as we would like for Black students, Black young people. So we need more innovation in the space. So it's not an either or. It's that choice that's super important.
There has to be a collaborative effort. It has to be a different. We just have to keep testing, to see where you're welcome. And I see you're in the comments from Chelsea mentioned personalized education. Yes, and having these micro assessments that you can easily deploy. How do you know you're learning? It's our job, and that's basically what we're doing. We're helping to prove students are learning. We're hoping to prove they're on task through engagement, right? Through text, through response. Yes. I guess I wanted to ask you, is there a quote or anything or a mantra that you have that you always kind of use to associate with your mission?
Yeah, I think about designing a future of work that works for all. Again, we focus on the parallels, the connection between education, workforce development sector, and at the end of the day, paths, our next generation of workers are paid fairly, are treated fairly. That's what we want to do. So for us, is we hope together we can design a future work that works for all. What about you?
For me, through technology, we can kind of break these shackles. So this is the only way where you can create a tool that no one can stop you, no one can block it. Like, our goal is to provide, to close the educational gap and to provide through accessibility and mobility to enable students to get an education that's going to lead to career pipelines. And a second part of that is because video is such a power, we want to give students the opportunity to receive discounts on their education by having a market rewards partnerships that we can do with brands, like same thing with charter schools. You know, these are schools funded by private organizations. So why shouldn't they be getting more money? So a lot of our public institutions and students, they need more resources within corporations to partner and enable students to get better education. So our focus is mobile learning, distance learning assessment, and to just be that go-to tool for learning assessment remotely.
All right.
There he is.
Again, you guys have done a fantastic job. I'm definitely looking forward to to the growth, and I actually want to get you both on the podcast, probably maybe together, but probably separately, because there's so much to go into for each of the tools. And I, for one, I feel like we might have some business partner thing going on here, because I want to see these things like, grow, and, sales is my that's what I've been doing most of my life. And if I believe in something, like I believe in your tool, I think I can help get it in front of, some of the right people. So I'm looking forward to engaging in those conversations too.
All right, we have some good commissions for that. Good to know. I'm always
I like commissions. So thank you, everybody who is in this session. We're going to do like a 10-minute break. You guys can do some networking if you like, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have our financial panel. We don't talk about there's not enough financial information that goes on in schools, and so we brought together some folks who have a unique perspective on that, and join us back on the main stage at 1:40 on the nose.
Right. It was a pleasure.
And if there's anything you want to leave people with, please go ahead, and now's the time.
Yeah. I'll talk to you soon. So yeah, let's definitely stay in touch, and we'll be talking soon.
Thank you, everyone. It was great.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us.